Sa mabilis na pag-asenso ng mundo ngayon, kung saan ang teknolohiya ay nasa ating mga kamay, mas madali kaysa kailanman na mag-record ng isang pag-uusap. Isang click lang sa ating mga smartphone, maaari na nating idokumento ang isang pulong, isang kaswal na pag-uusap o kahit isang mahalagang tawag. Ngunit alam mo ba na sa likod ng simpleng pagkilos na ito, ng pagre-record ay may isang seryosong legal na issue? In the Philippines, the recording of conversations is subject to strict rules aimed at protecting our privacies and liberties. Ever wondered if recording a conversation without the other person knowing is legal? What if I participate in the discussion? If someone records me without my permission, what are the consequences? The Philippines anti-wiretapping law provides the answers to these questions by clearly defining what constitutes lawful and unlawful private communication, recording, and interception. In this video, we'll dive deep into the intricate rules surrounding wiretapping in the Philippines. We'll explore the provisions of the law, real-life cases, and the technology that makes wiretapping such a complex and important issue today. Whether you're a lawyer, a student, or a content creator who uses their phone regularly, understanding these laws is critical to avoiding the pitfalls of illegal recording. Kaya bago mo pindutin ang record button, mahalagang malaman mo ang iyong mga karapatan at mga karapatan ng makausap mo. So stick around as we unravel the complexities of wiretapping law and help you stay on the right side of the law with every tap of your phone. So this is Christian Abusca from 3-2. Let's dive deeper into the Republic Act 4200, or also known as the Anti-Wiretapping Act. This law makes it illegal to tap any wire, cable, or use any device, whether it's a dictaphone, a tape recorder, or even your phone, to secretly overhear, intercept, or record a private communication. And that's not all. If you possess, replay, or share these recordings, you're breaking the law too. In fact, the Supreme Court has reinforced this in several cases. One key decision is on Salsado-Otanes versus the Court of Appeals, where it clarified that unless there's a clear evidence that both parties to the conversation allowed the recording, it's considered illegal. And the best evidence of that consent? It should be found in the recording itself. This brings us to the crucial point. It doesn't matter where the conversation happens, whether it's in a private home, a restaurant, or even in a public park. Without the consent of all parties, the recording is still illegal. This further established in a case of Mamba versus Garcia, where even recordings made in the judge's chambers classified as a public place were ruled illegal without permission. Now you may be thinking, what about the evidence? Well, here's another important aspect of the law. Any evidence obtained through illegal wiretapping can't be used in court. That's right. Even if you're recording something critical, if you didn't have consent, it's inadmissible in any court, legislative, or administrative hearing. But the law doesn't just apply to private individuals. Even public figures are protected. In fact, Ramirez versus the Court of Appeals confirmed that it doesn't matter who made the unconsented recording, whether it's the person in the conversation or an outsider. Unauthorized recording is illegal across the board. So before you press the record button on your phone, ask yourself, do you have permission from everyone involved? Because if you don't, you could find yourself in violation of Republic Act number 4200 and face serious consequences. Now that we've laid the foundation of the law, let's take a look at some real-life cases where the anti-wiretapping law has come into play. From journalists accused of wiretapping during interviews to government officials caught up in unauthorized recordings. This law has had far-reaching implications for many people across different sectors. One such case involved Ombudsman Samuel Martires, who accused investigative journalist Malu Manghahas of illegally recording a conversation without his consent. According to Martires, the conversation, which was later quoted in the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, or PCIJ report, was recorded without his knowledge or approval. This report was centered on President Rodrigo Duterte's unreleased 2018 SALN, or Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth. Martires claimed that mga has violated the anti-wiretapping law by secretly recording their casual conversation. However, the PCIJ countered by stating that Martires and his staff were fully aware that the conversation, which took in a public place and in a public setting and was of public interest, was recorded on Manga's mobile phone. This situation highlights key questions. When does a conversation become private? And when does the recording, without explicit consent, cross the line into wiretapping? Let's break down what the law actually says. Republic Act No. 4200, or the Anti-Wiretapping Law, prohibits recording conversation without the consent of all parties involved, particularly if the recording is done in secret. There are specific conditions for violating this law. First is when the person recording must not be authorized by all parties involved. Second is the recording is done by tapping a wire, cable, or using any device. Third is when the recording must secretly intercept or record a private conversation. And lastly, when there must be no consent from any of the participants. In this case, the question hinged on whether the conversation between Martires and Mangahas was indeed private and whether Martires had any reasonable expectations of privacy, given that it occurred in a public place. The PCIJ argued that because the conversation happened in a public setting and concerned matters of public interest, the recording should not be considered a violation of the law. The debate here is whether the recording of a public figure in a public place about a public issue should be classified as wiretapping. This case reminds us the legal precedents that guide these scenarios. One such case is on Salcedo Ortanes versus the Court of Appeals, where the Supreme Court ruled that both parties must give clear consent for a recording to be legal. The court also emphasized that the best proof of this consent should be found in the recording itself. Another relevant case is Ramirez versus the Court of Appeals, where it was confirmed that it doesn't matter who made the unauthorized recordings, whether it's a journalist or someone else. If the recording was done without permission, it could be deemed illegal under Republic Act No. 4200. Similarly, in 2017, then Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II filed a complaint against Senator Risa Ontiveros, accusing her for violating the anti-wiretapping law. The controversy arose after Ontiveros showed a photo of a text message exchange between Aguirre and a third party during a Senate hearing. Although the message was accidentally captured on the camera, the complaint raised questions about the privacy of communication even in public and highly visible settings. These cases demonstrate the complexities of anti-wiretapping law in today's context, where technology allows us to easily record and share conversations. The question of what constitutes a private conversation, even in public places, continues to evolve, especially with the rise of mobile devices. So whether you're a journalist, a content creator, or an everyday smartphone user, it is important to understand the nuances of wiretapping laws. In situations like this, consent is the key, and failing to obtain it could land you in serious legal trouble. Before pressing the record button, always ask yourself, am I respecting the privacy and legal rights of everyone involved? Understanding these rules is more important than ever in a world where smartphones are always within reach. So the next time you're tempted to record the conversation, always remember, it's not just about hitting record. It's about staying on the right side of the law and respecting the privacy of everyone involved. That's all. Thank you.